Hey guys, it's Bobby at League. Today I want to talk about choosing the right brokerage. So you're thinking about joining a brokerage. You want to be a freight broker. Maybe you already are a freight broker. What brokerage should you be looking at joining, and what should you look out for when choosing a brokerage? So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. Mostly the difference between a big and small brokerage, but also the kind of roles that they play, the services that they offer, and what you think you'll end up doing while you're there. So I'm going to get it over here to a little bit of a presentation, go through some of the slides, and hopefully it helps you make your decision on maybe even being a broker, but definitely on the brokerage that you pick, and making sure you don't put yourself in a bad spot that you can't get out of. And that's definitely something we're going to talk about. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. This video does not have any advertisements. Liking the video will tell YouTube that this is material that viewers want to see, and in turn get it in front of more people that can benefit from it. Thanks, guys. Choosing the right brokerage. Considerations. The first two things you want to ask yourself is, do I want to work in an office or remote? Do you want to work from home? Do you want to work from a hotel somewhere? Do you want to be able to travel? Do you want to be able to have an outside life that doesn't revolve around getting into the office at a certain time and leaving at a certain time? Now, your duties and job are going to have the same hours basically, but not having to go into the office will save you a lot of time and allow you to travel more and do your job from other remote locations. So, will this be my primary form of income, or is it a side job? This job is a full-time job, in my opinion, if you want to be successful. And by successful, I mean if you want to do $10,000 to $20,000 a week in profitable in margin, in profit. So yes, but the other side of that is, if you have a 5K book of business, every week you're doing 5K in profit and you're getting your commission off of it, could you cut the day short if you were all covered up by noon and go do whatever you wanted, play golf, go to a movie, whatever? Absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely could do that. So you got to say, hey, is this going to be my primary form of income? Maybe you have another job on the side that starts in the afternoon, and it's just kind of a side job for you. Maybe you have some accounts that are easy to cover. You have a carrier base. I don't know what position you're in now, but it is doable if you're looking for something either way. Okay. Will I be doing domestic FTL only, or will I be doing multiple forms of shipping? Will you just be doing full truckload domestic freight, or will you also be doing ocean, rail, air shipments? Will you be doing even some other trucking shipments that would be classified a little bit differently, like drayage? Would you be doing LTL? So all these things are things you're going to want to think about, because you want to make sure that the company you're going to has the capability of offering these services to your customers or potential clients. This is a really big one, and this might seem like a no-brainer for some of you guys because you know your own situation, but do I need a salary? I can tell you right now, a lot of this video today is going to be based off of whether you are willing to give up a big part of your financial future in order to get a salary instead. It's tough, but we're going to get into that more. What benefits are important to me? Health insurance, 401k, stuff like that. Am I looking to join a company I can move up the ladder in? Do you want to go into management? If you want to go into management, you're going to want to go to a bigger company, in my opinion. Now, not necessarily a huge company. You can find some smaller companies too, but you don't want a mom and pop shop where, even though you might be running the show, you're still not making very much money because it's all a very, very small company, and there's not much room to grow. I mean, the top's there. So I can tell you right now, if you're looking to join a company that you can move up the ladder in, you don't really want to be a broker. Go to another company. Go to a different industry. If you're here and you're even watching my video right now, it's because you want to be a broker. And if that's the case, don't be looking for another thing in case it doesn't work out. Don't try to go into management in case you don't make it as a broker. Don't try to climb a corporate ladder as a broker. Just build your book, get your financial freedom there, and your stability, and live off of it and flourish with it and grow it. So, does the company I'm considering joining have the insurance policies that my potential customers would require? This is a major consideration. So we're looking at different companies right now, and this might say, okay, well, I wouldn't join a company that doesn't have the insurance requirements. Guess what? Federal insurance requirements are minimum. It is $1 million auto liability for a carrier to be on the road. It is $100,000 in cargo. That's pretty much it. Okay, your customers, they will have different insurance requirements, and a lot of brokerages don't have them. So that might be a shocker, but that's really how it is. And a lot of small brokerages don't even have, obviously the bigger ones have more. So that's a plus for a bigger company. And I'm going to go through and we're going to do a pros and cons of, should I be looking at bigger companies or smaller companies and what best fits my needs. So pros and cons of a large company. And as you can see here, I put in my own 2 cents here with the thumbs up and the star rating. So stability, I put 3 out of 5 stars. So if you're looking for stability, yes, a large company is most likely going to have a more stable structure. It's built. It's got the infrastructure. It's got everybody in place. It's got your night dispatch guys. It's got your accounting people. It's got your coordinators. It's got everything that you could possibly need. And you're just another person there for them to put you in and go and do your job, right? Ramp up time. They will give you more time, typically, to become successful while you do other tasks like coordinate for them. Without you having to worry about not getting a paycheck. Number 3, most carriers are already set up and you can book them right away. That's true, okay? I gave this 3 stars as well. You can see the first 3 I gave 3 stars, okay? And that's because even though that is a good thing and it saves you time, what you're giving up for that for that convenience, I would say, is a lot. And we're going to get into that, how much you're giving up on the commission side for having a low salary to begin with, and then low commission. So yes, you're going to have a lot more carriers already set up, but you can find brokerages that are medium size or small size. League's a small company, and we're set up with thousands and thousands of carriers already in the last 6 years. So it just depends. Now, also, if you find a lane that you're doing a lot, you're going to get a good carrier base on that lane regardless. And if you have one carrier doing a whole bunch of these things, then you're going to get them going back and forth, and it's not going to be that big of an issue. It's a one-time setup. So let's go to the next one. So I don't think it really holds that much water. Yes, it is convenient. It is faster. You can book and go. But you know what? You can do that after the first time working with them anyway. And you never know. I mean, like I said, there's companies that are smaller that still are already set up with a ton of carriers that you wouldn't notice anyway. So number 4, great credit and financial backing. I don't think there's any way around that. These big, huge companies like the C.H. Robinsons and TQLs and Coyotes of the world, they have the financial backing that you can feel good about no matter what. Next Friday, you're going to get the paycheck that you were promised. Now, I think you should be able to feel that way about any company, but obviously that's not how things go sometimes. But with that, you can. Now, there's the downside of this too. You're one in thousands and thousands of employees, okay? Literally, C.H. Robinson, I think, has like 12,000 or more employees. Your paycheck, in my opinion, next Friday is still based off of how well you are doing for that company. You're not as important for that company in the thousands as you are for a company in the teens or less. So, can work up in management. Okay, this is what I was talking about before. If it doesn't work out, this is a backup plan. If you go to one of these big companies, any company really, even a small brokerage, sometimes we'll do this. But if you are counting on, I'm going to give this broker thing a shot, but if it doesn't work out, maybe I can just be a coordinator or, maybe do something in management or training, then this isn't for you. Sure, that might happen and that's fine, but you shouldn't be pursuing this career with that thought process in your mind, okay? That shouldn't be an opportunity for you or a backup plan. Okay? So number 6, let's just move on. Number 6, 24/7 call center doesn't help as much as you think it will. 90% of the time, they just take a note anyway, or they call you and say, hey, this is going on. What do you want to do? Well, if that's the case, the carrier could have just called me themselves. Okay? Just put in my extension and go to my cell phone. Cons, office politics. 4 thumbs down. You can disagree with me. That's just my opinion. I'm not for it. I don't like the atmosphere of a lot of big corporate places. That's just my opinion. So, number 2, this I don't think is an opinion. It is just what it is. Fewer prospects. If you are at a big company with thousands of employees, you could spend all day, literally all day, making a list of 100 or 200 prospects. Let's say 100, for example. Once you cross-reference all of those prospects in their database to make sure that you're not stepping on anybody else's toes, to make sure that you don't call anybody else's prospects, or even worse, their customers, by the end of it, you could have just a few prospects that you're allowed to call. Think about how long it's going to take you to build your list. How many opportunities you don't have because you're in such a saturated market. Now, I don't mean market as an industry. Obviously, there's a lot of players in this industry, but I'm talking about you actually just cannot even compete with other players in the industry because you as your company, you as a broker, your company that you're working with already has their fingers in all of these buckets, right? You can't compete with your fellow brokers in your own company. It is tough. I've been there. It's tough. It's more time consuming just making a list than it is closing a customer. And that can be pretty depleting as far as your energy goes and your outlook on what you're able to do. So number 3, former brokers have burned bridges with customers. Imagine if you're making a list and there's only a few prospects that you're actually allowed to call because nobody else is working on them. Well, what are the chances that somebody else hadn't already called them and maybe left a bad impression? But for whatever reason, whether it was a bad impression or not, they weren't able to secure the freight. Now you have to deal with reputation control. Like, hey, listen, every broker's different. I understand, you got some guys here, they quoted you high, they didn't treat you right, they said they were going to get it picked up and they didn't. I'm not the same. Yes, I'm from the same company. It's a hard sell. Okay, it's a hard thing to say that and get them to believe it, even though it is true. It is true. You are different. It doesn't matter. In a brokerage, the thing that makes a brokerage are the people, or the brokers. It doesn't matter if it's CH or League. League is nothing but the reputation of its employees, because they're the ones who are conversing and representing the company and themselves to their customers. So, number 4, lack of more personalized training. This one I gave 5 thumbs down because, in my opinion, training is the number 1 greatest asset that a company can give you. And there are so few that do. Most of it is non-personalized. Most of it's just even a video that they made that maybe takes up a couple hours of your time, and then you go through more training one-on-one with your broker who you're going to work under for 6 months. And it's more geared towards their software and how to use their system than it really is on how to become a broker, unless somebody is sitting there teaching you how to do it by the broker that you're training under, which is fine. But for someone who doesn't have 6 months and someone who doesn't want to work for somebody and be their whipping boy basically for 6 months, which is how it goes, do all their check calls, not make any money on their freight, just get paid very, very little, in my opinion, to do a job that pays pays a broker a lot of money. Now, granted, the broker's the one with the relationship and bringing in the freight, and you're learning from him, so there is value there. I just don't think it is equal. So, anyway, lower success rates. I mean, 5 thumbs down easily. You are limiting the amount of customers that you can get because you're going to a place that has fewer to offer. Okay? And so to clarify and kind of dive a little bit deeper into it, the things that are going to hurt your success in this aren't just how many people are around you pursuing the same companies or maybe had already talked to that company. That's just one or two things that is going to go against you. The other thing that's going to go against you is training. You weren't properly trained in these big places. The amount of time it takes someone to be successful in these big companies is, in my opinion, again, extremely long. Okay, you're taught how to do a coordinator's job, not how to be a broker, until they've made enough off of you by coordinating that now they're going to allow you to be a broker and go out and try to make it, and they've already replaced you with another coordinator to help this other broker out, and you're on your own. We'll see how you do, and then you have about 8 weeks or so to make it or break it. So that goes against everything that League stands for, that I stand for. The main thing that we want to make sure every single broker that is trying to be successful with us has is guidance, support, and proper training. And I'm talking about training that is extensive, not just in the regular full truckload. What kind of truck, what kind of trailer is this? We go into everything, not just the weight limits. Dispersion on axles. We go into everything. Container freight, all documentation, import, export. Anything that you possibly need to know to be successful, we make sure you know it. We drill in your head. We don't just have the materials for you to learn with, which you can download, but we also have the one-on-one time. We have the group chats, group calls, training sessions, and anytime you need something, someone is always here to be able to answer a question that you have immediately. So that is a difference of how a small company like League, and probably some other companies as well, are able to get a better success rate with their employees than bigger companies. If you have 150 people in your office, there's no way that you can make enough time for each one of them unless you have a lot of people yourself that are there doing the training and everything. And I can tell you from my experience in bigger brokerages, that's not something that is important to them from what I've seen. Now, I can't talk about every brokerage. I haven't worked at every brokerage, but that's just been my impression from where I've been. So what I try to focus on is making sure training is the most important and developed that it can be, so that our reps are properly trained and have the best possible shot at being successful. So let's look at the pros and cons of a small company. Number one, higher commissions. I think everybody here would agree that's 5 stars. I want to make more money. More personal training, 5 stars. The more personal training and number 4 go together. Higher success rate. The better training, the better training you get, the higher your success rate can be. And 3, you can prospect more companies. You work for a small company where you make a list out of 100, you can probably call 90 out of 100. So obviously you're going to get a lot more done with your time. And your time is worth more at that point. So I don't see any, the pros that come with a small company far outweigh the pros that come with a larger company, in my opinion. The security that people think comes with a bigger company just isn't true. A bigger company, yes, it will not go down 9 times out of 10 as fast as a small company would if they were put in the same financial constraints. Of course. However, that doesn't mean that you will still be there just because it doesn't go under. It's not an unknown thing or unheard of when a company gets rid of employees for cutting back. What's the difference to you if the company went under or if they just had to let you go? It doesn't matter. you're done with them, or rather they're done with you. So I don't look at it any different. That company no longer exists because I'm not there anymore. That's kind of how I would look at it, as the same. So cons, lower salary, if any. Sure, that's a con. You got to know your own situation. You know, do you have kids? Do you have a wife? Do you have are you financially stable for the next few months? Then, you know, if you're not, then yeah, you're going to need to probably go to a bigger company, take a lower commission rate and a higher salary. Now, that's not to say you can't go to some smaller companies too, and take a lower commission and a lower salary. It's just not something that I recommend if you can get away with not doing it. I think it's something that you'll always regret if you have the ability to go with a different setup, which we'll talk about. So higher risk of the company being financially unstable. Yeah, of course, that could happen. But again, a company will get rid of you even if it's a big company way before it goes under. So number 3, may not have a carrier network built for your specific area. Yes, 2 thumbs down. It is unfortunate. It takes a little bit of time to get your rate cons out, but it should not stop you from doing your job, number 1. And number 2, it shouldn't deter you from making more money for the convenience of waiting for a carrier to get set up. That's just not a good reason. Credit score and days to pay may be low or fluctuate. 5 thumbs down. This is a very good reason to avoid a smaller company. Now, we're talking about a smaller company. We're talking about the rules of generalities, right? So generally speaking, it is a higher probability that a smaller company will have a lower credit score and a higher days to pay than a larger company would with a better financial backing. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't join a smaller company? Absolutely not. It means do your research on every company that you want to join, whether it's big or small. Sure, the bigger company, again, is going to have a better probability of being more financially stable than a smaller, but it doesn't mean that it is. Every company is different. Big companies go down, just not as often as smaller companies, but they do. Remember, they're just generalities. Now, number 5. May not be set up with all the carriers' factoring companies, so the carriers you book may fall off the load right after. That's a big one. It really is. Now, that is going to go hand in hand with number 4, though. Okay? So if your credit score and days to pay are not great, then factoring companies aren't going to work with you, and therefore a lot of these carriers aren't going to be working with you either because that's how they get paid. Do your research on a company. If it is a company that you want to work with, whether it's big, medium, or small, look at their credit. Okay, read some reviews, not necessarily Google reviews or Facebook reviews or anything like that. You're looking for reviews of carriers saying, "Hey, I didn't get paid," or brokers saying, "Hey, they're going through a rough time. I got out of there, whatever." But you're not looking for like the regular, the guy didn't pay me detention or something like that, where it could just be a dispute. Don't worry about those. Worry about somebody talking about not getting paid. That's a big deal. All right, so which company should I join? So I did some examples based on 20%, 35%, and 50% commission structures with different salaries. Now, important, you get paid either salary or commission, whichever is higher. It is not salary and commission. That is a big deal to think about. So when you're looking at this here, Company A, it says salary 50%, commission, or $50,000, commission 20%. That does not mean you get $50,000 plus 20% of the profits. It means you get whatever's higher. And that's about how just about every company does it. And if they don't do it that way, then you're only going to get a few percentage on top of your salary. It's never going to be that high. So let's just take an example. First year average weekly GP is $4,000. Commission earned is $41,600. So did you actually get $41,600 in commission that year? No, because instead of the $41,600 in commission, you're going to get salary of $50,000 because it was higher. It's not until year 2, hypothetically, if you got your book of business up to $10,000, that you would make $104,000 in commission. Now, in that case, you would you would earn $104,000 that would be paid by the company to you minus taxes, and you wouldn't get any salary. It's one or the other, whatever's higher. So you get 104. And then Third year, you got to aim for that $20,000 a week. It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. It's great. Commission earned $208,000. Sounds like a lot of money. Well, let's see what you could have potentially been leaving on the table. Okay, Company B. This is a CHTQL type structure. Actually, I take that back because the two companies I just named you don't pay this amount in commission. That's too high. They pay less. But do your own research. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. I shouldn't talk about that. Just do your own research, but most of them are actually going to be closer to this. So, and their salary is going to be about this. So, salary $35,000, commission 35%. First year average weekly GP, gross profit, right? 4,000. Let's compare. 72.8 now instead of 41. Well, are you getting 35 or 72? You're getting 72 the first year. So you thought you were doing better because for the first 6 months that you're in training here, you're making more money than this guy for sure. But by the end of the year, if you average 4,000 per week by the end of the year, this company is going to say, hey, this guy's doing much better than you. Okay. Second year, 182 versus 104 for 10K a week. 182 versus 104. And then you get to 208 to 364. It's substantial. It really is. I mean, look, you're 5% away from double. And then we go over to Company C, $0 salary. And yes, I understand that. That is crazy to expect some people to be able to live life for a few months without making any money. It is unfortunate. I get it. But if you can, you should. If you can, you will not regret it. And if you can and you don't, you will regret it for as long as you're in this industry. So if you remember anything, remember that. So I offer people both of these. And if they're able to take this one, I think they absolutely should. Okay, let's look at it. $4,000 a week is $110,000 your first year. Okay. Second year, $260,000 compared to $182, compared to $104. So you look at here, you took this $50,000 salary that now means nothing, right? Because you're getting commission anyway, and you're at $104. Well, the same guy who didn't take the salary in his second year is making $260,000, and someone who just a smaller salary is making $182. So you might automatically think, hey, I'll compromise here, and I'll go with Company B. That's great. If you need money, you need something, then go with Company B. That's fine. But if you don't need it, don't settle for B. Don't take it just because it's the middle of the road. Don't take it because it's just a compromise. This is going to pay you $520,000, over $500,000 a year once you get up to your third year, if let's say that you're doing $20,000 a week in gross profits. Now, how feasible, let's just look at this real quick. How feasible is it to do $20,000 a week in gross profits? I know a lot of people, including myself, that have been able to surpass $20,000 week after week after week. I know people who've been able to do $50,000 week after week. I know of people at companies that I worked prior that did over $100,000 in a week, which is just nuts to me, but they did it. I have not personally. Hats off to them. I have not been able to do that. But it has been done. So in my opinion, I have multiple people here at League that have done over $20,000 in a week. And not, what I mean is with consistency. Okay. So, and you got to keep growing it. So it doesn't stop there. It just keeps on going up. But if you can, I'm going to say this one more time, if you can go with this C option, you will not regret it. If you can't and you got to go with some of these, then, it is what it is if you absolutely had to. But again, if you don't have to and you don't, you will regret it. If you have the luxury of time, of funds, join a company that will train you properly and pay you higher commissions instead of a higher salary. That's where it gets hard, though. That's where it's hard to find, because that's what's missing here, okay? Finding a company that will offer The training properly, that's the hard part. Okay, let's go on to the next one here and see. So let's look at a couple different things first. Which company should I join? Let's try to just narrow it down. So let's say if you know what type of commission structure you feel comfortable with, then you can narrow down your results. So let's assume that you decided to join a company B. Again, if you can go C, go C. If you can't and you got to go B, go B. It's okay. You have other responsibilities, no shame in that. So join in this example, you're going after a company B type brokerage, right? That kind of structure. And you have 5 candidates in mind. Now you need to narrow down those candidates so you can join one, right? First thing that you're going to want to do is run their credit. Okay? Check out their credit score, their business credit score. Check their reported days to pay carriers. Look up their bond information and see if a company has filed on it, and better yet, if anyone's been successful of actually recovering anything off their bond. Now, if you don't know what a bond is, any brokerage needs to have a BMC 8485, depending on if it's a bond or trust fund, with, in this case, $75,000 for carriers to be able to take and draw upon in case the broker doesn't pay them. They will file on the bond. The bond company will look at the paperwork that they have and verify if it is legitimate or not. And if you haven't paid them and it is legitimate, they will pay them. Okay? You won't have a choice in the matter. If that's the case, you're going to want to know that before you go join this company, because guess what? He wasn't able to pay his bills. Or she, just the company. So, look up reviews from past employees, okay? Don't look up reviews from a carrier that's worked with them and said, oh, this guy isn't right. I didn't get detention on this load. I didn't get a tono. I didn't get that. That's a broker, and it could be the carrier's fault. Who knows? It was a dispute that they had with somebody, and they're upset about it, and they wanted to voice their opinion just like somebody does for a restaurant, okay? Don't worry about that. Disregard that. Look for something that says, I didn't get paid. That's something you're not going to want to just brush off. You're going to want to know what's going on with that. I didn't get paid. Or look up reviews from people who have worked at the company before. If they say, hey, if the broker's saying he doesn't get paid, that's an issue. If the broker's saying that different office aspects that you want to look at, like I talked about before, office politics. If they say it's some kind of a club or something with certain people and it's not really a fair environment, then you're going to want to pay attention to those things, in my opinion. So let's take a look at the next one here. Hopefully you've narrowed down your options to 2 or 3 after reviewing the financials and reputation, but if you haven't, that's fine. Don't worry, just keep on narrowing it down here. And this is going to where you want to kind of look at different things on capability. So you want to know what you're working with in software. So many companies, both big and small, are living in the past, and they need to get with the times of software. They need to be able to make your life easier with software. There's certain things that you shouldn't still be doing that software could do for you, but for some reason they have not gotten on board with this yet to 2020 or almost 2021. So new software saves time and increases your productivity and in turn your profitability. Don't waste time doing things that can be automated. Okay? Manually sending your customers invoices one by one does not make you money. It collects money, but that's not what's making you money, and it shouldn't be a job that you have to do. Now, certain customers are going to have certain requirements, and maybe it is going to be a pain for you if they need a skill to get uploaded to here or here or here, or something special, whatever that you feel is easier for you to do, but it's not going to be a rule and you're not going to be doing it for every customer. So limit the amount of time that you spend doing those type of tasks that could be automated. Let's look at some of the software features in today's world that you're going to wish you would have had. So this is one of the most important decisions, and the system that you're going to be working on is going to be what you live and die on every single day when you use it. Whenever you're dispatching your driver, whenever you're inputting or building a load, creating a customer, pulling an invoice, anything, okay? This is going to be the system that you're going to count on to save you time, not waste your time, so that you can go out and keep growing your book of business. So the most important thing is that it has the ability to do every form of transportation that you plan on offering. Now, is that a time saver? No. But it is the most important, okay? So let's look at the different features out there first. Full truckload, less than truckload, ocean, tracking, document storage, text driver. I don't see anything here that says about container tracking, but container tracking. Internal accounting system to see your customers' accounts payable, okay? Or your customers' accounts receivable, or our company's accounts receivable, what they owe. Document storage, I talked about being able to send things straight from the storage. Texting a driver, I just skipped over that one. I said it real fast, but you know what? Let's talk about it just a little bit more, because if a driver doesn't answer their phone, if they're having service issues, you can go in a system like ours and like a million others probably, and just text the driver through the system, and they can text back whenever he gets reception, and it'll just go through, and then he can text back and give you an update on his location if you don't have tracking enabled, or if tracking is not working because of the bad reception area, the mountains, weather, things like that, and get you an update. Or can also reply to that text, which doesn't go to your cell phone, it goes to our system, and give you paperwork. If you're waiting on a scale ticket or something like that, then they can just text it right over. Post loads to boards, all the load boards. You want to be able to have a system that allows you to post straight to the load boards without you having to log on to each and every single one, post, and take up your time. Accountability log, you want to be able to see who was in your load, what they were doing, why something was changed, what was changed, and whose fault it is if something was messed up. You want to be able to send documents, BOLs, PODs, scale tickets, anything that you need, pictures, all through the system, to drivers, from drivers, to customers, whatever. Archive loads. You don't want a slow system. Get a system that has archive capabilities for you to still jump in the loads through a different, it's usually through a different access point, I guess. But those loads don't actually disappear. You get them off your board, you can't see them, they don't show up in reports, you have to go to a special place, pull the archive loads, and they're still there, but they're not dogging down your server. So you're able to have your system run at a faster speed. It's almost like uploading your photos and then getting them off of your phone, but still being able to see them in the cloud, right? Export capabilities, import capabilities, both, whether that be for, in this case, I would say ocean freight, but I think I actually wrote this for QuickBooks and reports and things like that. So you can export reports, send them to customers, things like that. So track customers' credit limits and usage. If your customer is over their credit limit, you don't want it to be able to allow you to put them on the load. You need to make sure it does that kind of stuff. Track customers' credit limits and usage. Quick rate checks. Yeah, you're going to want to be able to jump on there, pull a rate real fast without having to go to different places, if possible. Now, I will say, in my opinion, I still think that certain software or certain sites have better rates, more accurate rates than any TMS software, in my opinion. But whatever. Log all communications. Yes, absolutely. All your check calls need to be logged. Anybody who puts in a note needs to be logged. Every call, period, whether you get a hold of the guy or not, needs to be logged. Commission reports. You need to be able to keep track of your own commissions. All right. Don't count on the company to always be right. And that sounds sad, but at the same time, this is your money. You need to keep track of it, and they should never get mad at you for asking questions or asking to be able to see every load and making sure you were paid on it. Okay? All right. Non-compete. This is the single most important document you will sign. Really is. It is the reason choosing the right brokerage the first time is so important. Non-competes in this industry are typically 1 to 2 years from the date of termination or resignation, meaning they terminate you and you have to wait 2 years or 1, depending on what your contract is, before you can actually even compete in the same territory as that brokerage. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, and for most industries it's not too bad. If you're selling copiers in Orlando, Florida, you can no longer sell copiers in Orlando, Florida, because the company you're working for, that's their territory. If that company selling copiers is in Orlando, Jacksonville, and Tampa, you cannot sell in Orlando, Jacksonville, or Tampa. Now, welcome to the brokerage 3PL world of my territory is the United States and Canada. What do you do now? You wait, or you get sued for not waiting. And it sucks, right? But you have to make sure that you look at this both ways. So understand what this is there for and why it's so effective, and realize the benefits that come from this potentially detrimental piece of paper. They will stop you from working as a freight broker anywhere that your previous employer has services. Like I said, if it's USA, you're done in the USA. It's that easy. So make sure you pick the right brokerage the first time. It is so important. If you think, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try. If it doesn't work out, I'll go somewhere else. It's not going to happen like that, guys. You have to do your due diligence here. This is the single most important decision of your career if you decide this is going to be your career for the long term, okay? The consensus is that non-competes are corporate evil manifested in ink and printed on paper. I get it. Everyone hates them. Everybody just knows. It's almost like an instinct to hate a non-compete. But you shouldn't. And you also should. So here's why. If you're happy with the brokerage you work for, then you should love this document because it is there to protect your accounts, which technically are owned by the company. They're company accounts if they're paying you to be there. So the company has the right to go after anyone trying to illegally poach your book of business, as it is theirs. What that means is you work in an office or remote, brokers can see other brokers' boards, brokers can see other brokers' customers, and they're going to. Even if they can't see your board, they're going to figure it out at one point or another when they can't call a customer. Why? Well, it's because it's somebody else's customer. They're going to start looking at rates. They're going to start looking at the rates that we pay on different lanes, right? That's how you're going to get some of your rates, is by seeing what other brokers have paid on similar lanes, doing a rate per mile, and also other software too. But it's going to happen at some point or another where you are going to stumble upon somebody else's customers, and you're going to have information that would give you an unfair advantage if you ever wanted to leave and try to take somebody else's customers. And the company is there to protect yours. So let's say you've been with the company for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and somebody else left and they're going after your customers. I would hope that you would want the company that you work for to step up for you and go after full throttle with all the legal expense, not your legal expense. You know, you're getting half, the company's getting half in a 50-50 scenario, but they're the ones who need to go after it, right? They need to fight for those accounts for you and themselves. And that is what it's there for. It's to make sure that everyone's accounts are protected, that everyone feels comfortable in the company, working for the company, and knowing that the company has their back against anybody else who might want to try to take something that's theirs. That's a brokerage, man. That's a team. So that's what the company should be. Now, of course, there's two sides of every coin. Yes, if you're not happy with the company that you're with, it's a 2-year learning experience. But again, make sure you pick the right company first and make sure you fit in with their culture. That might sound weird, but every culture and every company has a different culture. They have a different sense about them. They got a different sense of humor, even a different seriousness, and you need to make sure that it is something that definitely fits with your personality. So now I'm going to show you a little bit of what League offers. You don't have to join League, obviously. This is just a video, but this is stuff that I've done, that I have in place, and how I feel with this being my company, that I want my brokerage ran this way. And there's a few slides of this, and maybe something for you to think about, even if you don't come here, but to compare it to other places, even if you go somewhere else. You need to look for some of this stuff. So at League, you get support from me and other members and staff, okay? You are part of the team. That's why it's a league, okay? This seems small, but it is really the greatest benefit to our members. And for some reason, it just jumped over. Our community is everything to us, and our goal is to help all of our members reach success as a broker, okay? Education is the most important part of a broker being successful. Live training, access to archived training videos, prospecting guidance, a community around you if you ever have any questions, or if you need a quote. Here, number 7, quoting guidance. And number 8, work for a financially stable company. And then, so let's just go to number 9, a great credit score with DAT and factoring companies so that the carriers want to work with us. If you look at our credit score right here, it's 97 out of 100. Our days to pay is 31. 31. And as you can see here, 30 is the lowest it can be. So even if it's 0, it will still say 30. So that's the lowest possible score. So ours is one above the very lowest possible score. And honestly, I don't even understand credit at all because we pay carriers way before 30 days. So we're always ahead on our payments. So, but anyway, education is definitely key. All the software and subscriptions needed for our platform, we make sure that all of our brokers have every bit of software, every bit of help that they possibly can, just to increase the chance of them being successful. So rates, load boards, post boards, carrier background checks, prospecting software, emails, and more obviously email. The training I cannot go into enough. It is what makes this company so great, is not just the training that you get from me, but the training that you get from our successful brokers that are constantly trying to pick up the new guys and get them to be as successful as well. So here's our commission structure. It's 50% on all loads with margins over 12%. And if you're making less than 12% on a load, then it's 40% commission. Now, that is on everybody that we're taking on right now, which is 0 salary, because that's what I'm most interested in. And the reason why, even though right now, most of our employees actually were salary and lower commission, I'm changing that. We're changing it as we go and as we get in more non-salary people so that everybody gets a higher percentage. And in my opinion, I would like all those guys who even got a lower percentage over time, with more and more guys coming in, to eventually get the higher percentage as well, because when everybody's happy and everybody's doing a great job, things just go better. That's the goal, get everybody happy. So I guess I got it on a timer here. I'm going to pause. I personally do not know of any successful brokers who average less than 10% margins, by the way, guys. So year to date, 10 and a half months into 2020, my personal average margin this year is 21.5%. I am a broker, okay? It's my company, sure. I used to do a lot of different things in the company. I started as a broker. At the end of the day, I'm a broker. That's where I belong. That's where I feel good. And I train. I've done accounting. I've done networking. I've done all the different hats. It's not me. What I am training and I am brokering, and that is all I do now. So I like people watching me. I got the Zoom cam on me, the webcam on Zoom, and I just prospect. Everybody can sit there. They can listen to me all day. I like that. I like prospecting in front of people. I like training people. I like answering the questions, and I like showing people at League when I do well, what I do well, and how they can improve and be successful as well. And that is what I am trying to do, and my goal. So I think a good goal for an average margin is 15 to 20%. Like I said, mine's 21.5 currently. At the time of writing this, the lowest average margin of any broker at League is 14.65%. Highest is 24.66%. So I am not the highest by any means. That is amazing. 24.66 is a great margin. It's a quarter basically. So important to note, from what I've seen, there's a void in the industry, and that's what I'm trying to fill here with this new structure, okay? Companies typically hire employees that fit in either of these two categories. Company number one is looking for an employee to pay $35,000 a year, 20 to 25% commission, if higher than salary, whatever's higher, or even say 35%, whatever. No experience needed, and they give you about 6 months training before sales. During those 6 months, guess what you're doing? You're coordinating. You're the guy who gets stuck with calling to get invoices or scale tickets. You do whatever the broker needs you to do. Here's what you don't do. You don't do sales. You don't grow a book of business. You don't accelerate your future earnings at all until you go into sales for the first 6 months. If you are okay with that, then go for that. Job listing number 2, experienced brokers wanted. I see this all the time. This is commission only job. This is what I'm offering mostly right now. 50% commission tiers. 50% plus, guys. These guys even go more. They'll do something where it's like 30% if you do 2K a week, 50% if you get 4K a week, and then 60% for 6K a week or more, right? And then it just kind of goes kind of flat from there. But what is interesting here is not surprising, I guess, but these are the guys that they want to bring you on, but they don't want to do anything for you. Okay, they're not going to train you. They're looking for trained brokers, experienced brokers. That's why they're willing to pay that more. What I am trying to do is create something that's missing here. I want no experience needed, 50% commission, straight commissions, daily training, community of guidance and support. I want to take brand new guys and try to get them to be successful as fast as possible, the right way, with good training, get them familiar with different types of shipping so that they can increase the probability of them being successful by being able to do multiple branches of logistics. That's my goal. So if this is something that you think you want to be a part of, definitely shoot me an email, rw@shipleague.com. But take some of these things that you learned from the video, apply them, and start looking for something that actually fits your needs, okay? A culture that fits yours, a company that has a solid financial backing, a company that is a good reputation, one that doesn't have any any successful, I should say successful because anything could be a misunderstanding, filing on a bond, anybody who's successfully been paid out on a bond. Insurance requirements, make sure that they fill all the insurance requirements that some of your customers may need. $2 million in auto liability, maybe it's $1 million in cargo depending on what you're moving. Reefer insurance, whatever, okay? Make sure there's no exclusions in the policy, like non-ferrous metals, aluminum, anything like that, if you're going to be hauling it. Make sure that you're not going somewhere that you're going to be limited to be able to haul things that you don't even know that you want to haul yet, because you're not in it yet. And if you have any questions, whether you join us or not, send them over to me. I'll definitely get back to you, okay? Thanks for watching, guys.